Jen Loki, the 20th of October. All right. So my system is the nervous system. It is huge and ridiculously complicated, but also fascinating. So there are a ton of different medical specialties. It's almost like too big to even call one thing. But a neurologist is someone who studies any or all parts of the nervous system. A neurosurgeon would be the person who performs surgery on any of the organs or parts of the nervous system. But that's not super helpful because it's so broad. So there are neurologists that specialize in behavior neurologists, autoimmune neurologists, autonomic neurologists. There are even more specific, like someone who studies epilepsy and just deals with patients with epilepsy is an epileptologist. I didn't even know that was a thing. So it kind of continues to get more and more specific. The organ I've chosen within the nervous system is a specialty organ, the eye, which I just think is miraculous. And so from now on, rather than talking about neurology as a whole, I'm going to go down narrow and talk about eyes and people who deal with just eyes. Though a neurologist could also deal with eyes because it's part of that, especially because the occipital lobe has so much of the nervous information from vision from the eyes. Okay, so first of all, the eye, the point of the eye is to give us vision, one of our senses. So to take light and turn it into pictures to help us be aware of our surroundings, which again is just like, what? I can't even believe that works. It's just so cool. So the clinical, somebody who needs like glasses or contacts or just has some sort of basic issues with their vision would see an optometrist who would go to school for 4 years and become a doctor of optometry, but no medical school. Whereas an ophthalmologist is sort of the beefier version of that. You go to medical school to study the eye, go to medical school and then specify down for the eye. And an ophthalmologist can perform surgeries like cataract surgery and things like that. So the clinical side, both ophthalmology and optometry, and then the surgical side, just the ophthalmologist or neurologist. Okay, so the eye is situated in the ocular orbit, which is this cavity created by the meeting of a bunch of different bones in the face, cranium bones, or facial bones. And so that helps us kind of determine how to talk about where the eye is located. Obviously, it's on the anterior side of our body. They are on the anterior side of our body, but more specifically, your eyeball sits within that cavity, that orbit, held in place with muscles and adipose tissue and other things. But it is inferior to the frontal bone of the skull. It is superior to the maxilla. It is medial to the zygomatic, and it is lateral to the lacrimal bone as well as the medial portion of the ethmoid. It's held in place, like I said, with extraocular muscles, and those include the superior rectus, the inferior rectus, the lateral rectus, and the medial recti, as well as the inferior oblique and the superior oblique. And then there's lots of adipose tissue that probably insulates the optic nerve and all of the other nerves. Okay, so that is how it's situated. And again, this is on the anterior side of our head. And let's talk about landmarks. I'm trying to remember everything here. So the pupil, we'll start with the pupil. It looks like a black structure, but it's actually just a hole that travels through the clear lens to the back of the eye, to the retina, which is black, so that's why the pupil looks black. The iris is the muscle that constricts or dilates around that hole, and that I find interesting, the iris, because of the genetics of the pigmentation of it. Kind of interesting. Let's see, okay, the retina is in the back. Like I said, it's black. It absorbs all wavelengths of light, and that is where the rods and the cones are, which is just like so cool that we have specialized neurons that can tell us what color things are. And then rods deal with like movement and have a kind of a grainier picture, but we can see in the dark and in the light. Really cool. Color blindness I find very interesting. So that's the retina. And then the cornea is the clear, non-vascular portion of the outside of the eye. And let's see. The lens is also clear, and the muscles kind of manipulate it, and it directs the light to the back of the eye. So let's see. Let's just make sure. So lens, cornea, pupil, iris, retina. Okay. So those are 5 landmarks. And let's see. I think that's it. And the main, like I said, the main focus of, or the main function of the eye is so that we can see and interact and perceive our surroundings by taking light and forming information that can help us from that. Okay, I think we're done now.